Getting a good night's sleep is imperative for relaxation, restoration, and recalibration of the mind. What you've been eating today can definitely affect how well you'll sleep tonight. Are you eating for a good night's sleep? Welcome to the Wellness Champion Podcast, sponsored by Healthy Transformation Nation. We believe that your health and wellness is determined by your own self-care more than anything else. Join us for each episode when we discover and uncover the keys to self-care in today's complex culture. We enjoy helping others discover the best ways to be well. We'll be visiting the basics for self-care and ongoing wellness that enables you to not only survive, but to thrive. Wellness Champion Podcast.
We know that the food and beverages that you consume will have an effect on how you'll sleep tonight. So, now the question you might be asking yourself is, what should I be eating for a good night's sleep? How do I promote sleep with my food?
I recently tried a substitute coffee, like a coffee substitute called mushroom coffee that was designed to not give you any jitters or effects of caffeine. Mm-hmm. And now I haven't been drinking coffee for many years. Right. And this was called mushroom coffee. Mm. And so I thought it was great. I tried it. I thought it was great. It tasted good, and it contained a beneficial mushroom blend.
Right, right.
However, what I didn't realize was that it actually did have real coffee in it. I know the name says mushroom coffee, but the way it was marketed, I thought it was a substitute for coffee and didn't actually have coffee in it. But it did. It had a small amount of coffee, which in turn had a small amount of caffeine, really a trace amount. But what happened was I was finding that I was not able to have a good night's sleep. And I didn't know why at first. I was like, why am I not sleeping well? Mm-hmm. You know, in tossing and turning and waking up and just having trouble getting to sleep. And I was puzzled. But when I decided to take a look again at the ingredients on the mushroom coffee and that's when I discovered that it had the caffeine in it, that it had the coffee in it. And even though it was a small amount, and I was drinking the beverage at probably no later than 2 p.m. in the afternoon, still like 12 hours later, it was affecting my body, even that small amount of caffeine. So that to me was a lesson in what to eat and drink and how it affects you even hours later when you're in bed trying to sleep.
Yeah, and what I loved that you said was you kind of, from what you're telling me, you kind of step back and like retracing my steps, like what have I done differently, right?
Yeah, that's what I had to do.
Yeah, because you've not had a problem before, you've been able to sleep, because usually actually you fall asleep pretty quickly. And then to have like a disruption with that pattern, it's always good to like, well, what have I done differently? Have I added something into my diet? Have I changed my routine up? And I love that you brought that up, that you went back to something that you knew you'd done differently and dug in and looked a little closely to it, a little more closer to it. So, because I didn't know either. And I thought, like you, that it was just a substitute for coffee because we don't drink coffee at all. And so it was really eye-opening for sure. Yeah. And now I wasn't as affected as you were by it. It didn't affect me at all, but we're different. We're different people. We're bio-individuals. So, what may affect you may not affect me. But even still having the caffeine in there, where both of us have been caffeine-free. I've been about 3 years, and you've been a long, long time caffeine free.
I have, yeah.
So it really paying attention to what you do daily really can make an impact on finding out the things that make the changes in your routine. So I love that you shared that. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. And today we're going to be talking about the foods that you eat, the amount that you eat and when you eat it during the day. And also we can't have a discussion about, the foods that you eat without also having a little discussion about beverages and what you're drinking.
Yeah.
So one thing that we want to talk about and cover is eating a variety of nutrient-dense food and not only getting the right nutrients, but maybe not getting the sugar and the caffeine that we were just talking about.
Right. I mean, we don't have any regular sugar in our diets. We usually have fruit, and I know you have some stevia and stuff like that, but that's or monk fruit, and that's very minimal amount that you have. And the caffeine we just talked about, and the nutrient dense foods, when we're talking about that really takes care of your nutritional value, daily nutritional value. And I found that when I used to eat a different way with packaged foods and things like that, doing drive-through donkey runs, different things along that line, my overall sleep was not as good. I would actually have a lot of pain at night.
And by the way, donkey runs, just going to interject here for a second. Donkey runs is a reference to Dunkin' Donuts, which is, but
yeah, thanks, Phil. But yeah, it was amazing how I would actually wake up in pain. And I did that almost every day. I would wake up in pain, and I was dreading waking up and having to actually deal with the day because of how I was feeling. And I didn't have energy waking up. I was really kind of tired. And when I switched over to the nutrient dense foods, right, I would wake up not in pain. I would feel much better rested. I mean, my sleep pattern also improved tremendously. The other thing too that helped was eating like that. All of my nutritional needs were met, and my need to eat later actually diminished.
Exactly. Yes, because when your body is nutritionally satisfied, you're not as hungry.
That's right. So because I used to really want to snack a lot at night, and I would actually, in the old days when I was doing a lot of dieting, I would kind of save up the whole day, and then I would eat more at night, so I could, because that was when I would have my cravings and stuff.
But I think that's the position that many of us are living in. Mm-hmm. If you're not getting the I want to say appropriate nutritional elements in your food, and everyone is individual, so everyone has different requirements.
That's true.
But if you're not getting your individual nutritional requirements all day long, then you're going to have like hunger and cravings and just, and you're going to try to satisfy those that hunger and cravings with the snacking and the late night food and runs and things like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's something that's really changed. And what I've actually moved into is I've moved into actually having my evening meals much earlier. Sometimes I even like to have dinner at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because I found that there's a rhythm that my body likes to go and flow with. And it's really powerful when I fall into that pattern and I stay in that pattern of eating. It feels good. Like my body responds so well to it.
Yeah. And one thing that I've done, as well as, similar to what you're talking about, is I have my heavier meal, my bigger meal is actually my lunchtime meal. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If we want to break it down into, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then my breakfast is fairly light, and I actually spread it out throughout the morning. Mm-hmm. And then I have a really, kind of decent size meal for in the early afternoon. And in the old days we used to call that dinner. And then supper was something that we had at night. But anyway, so I have like a dinner during the day, and then in the evening it's light. And we encourage everyone to experiment with just light evening meals, and that way it's going to help eliminate that late night snacking.
Absolutely.
Yep. And you can also replace that snacking activity at night too with other activities.
Absolutely.
Yoga or journaling, reading, connecting with a loved one.
Yeah, absolutely. Meditation is another one too. And we do that. We absolutely do that. Yeah. There are a lot of nights that we go up, we'll turn everything off downstairs at like 7 o'clock at night and come up here and just relax, meditate, spend time together, talk, conversate, and we have a beautiful time together. And to me, that's really making awesome memories, and I'm being present with you. I'm not thinking about food and focusing on all that stuff and snacking and the cravings aren't there, because I'm being present with what I'm doing, with who I am with.
The added benefit is that I just really enjoy taking my time getting ready for bed.
Yes.
Instead of like, I gotta get ready for bed and jump under the covers and go to sleep because boy, it's getting late and I gotta get up early tomorrow.
Right.
That whole feeling is just not there. The anxiety is not there. The rushed, not being prepared kind of feeling is not there. It's just very relaxed and chill.
I love it. Yeah, I really love it.
And that sets you up for a good night's rest.
Oh, it does. It does.
And what we're all, the ultimate goal here with the food is that you want to limit the amount of digestion that needs to take place at night.
Right.
Because digestion requires energy, right?
Absolutely. The first thing that the body needs that uses energy is the brain, and the second is the digestive system. If the digestive system is working while you're trying to sleep, you're not going to get the benefits of the restoration, the relaxation, and the recalibration of the body and mind.
Right, because your body's using its energy for something else.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful.
It is, yeah.
Our bodies are amazing that way.
Yeah. So what about drinking? Like, now, I personally try to get, I try to get at least 80 ounces of water in my system every day.
Right.
And I try to do that before like the sun goes down.
Right.
Because I don't like to be drinking at night, because then you know what happens in the middle of the night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The bathroom run.
And for me, it's the same thing with greens, with salads, with a lot of fruits and vegetables and greens that have a high content of water. I try to eat those earlier in the day. I do get those in, but I get them in, earlier, like what I was saying, like the
dinner.
midday.
Yeah.
And I try to limit having those in the evening, because that can end up same thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I do about a gallon a day myself, so I really have to be very mindful about when I'm starting my intake of water and when I'm ending it, because otherwise, like you, I will be up all through the night going to the bathroom, and that really is disrupting to your sleep, because you're waking up, and sometimes you have to turn the light on, and that takes you out of that
cycle.
lull. Yeah, absolutely. It breaks that cycle up completely, and it really does hinder the sleep quality.
Yeah, it does.
So we've talked about evening meals and eating light when it's late in the day. Also cutting down on sugar and caffeine. Drinking beverages late in the day can also interrupt your sleep, so try to limit that. Try these tips and notice the difference.
If you'd like to learn more, or if you have any thoughts of your own you'd like to share, join us at htn4u.com. That's HTN, the number 4, the letter U.com. That's our online private community for all things wellness and self-care. While you're there, why not download our bedtime routine? We're looking forward to seeing you there.